Hello, we're continuing with the UberOptin tutorial series. And in the last video, I showed you how you can create your first widget by dragging it to your widget area, saving it, selecting your styles, and getting ready to start customizing your UberOptin form. So I'm going to leave the width for this one at 250 because that's really a very standard sidebar width. If you want to play with it, you can always change it. If you want to try, see what 300 looks like, maybe yours looks a little more narrow, you want to try 220, you can kind of play with that number, click save, preview your site, and see what looks good and adjust accordingly. I do that all the time. So we're going to go back to 250, and we're going to type in our headline. It does the job for a demonstration. So grab my free ebook. I'll try a 26 size font. That's a pretty big size. Your standard text on most websites is around 14. So you can see you double that, you get around 28. I like to start with around 26. I'll go with Tahoma. You can try all these different styles we've got here, your Arials, your Comic Sans, your cursives, Georgia with classic serif font right there, your Trebuchet, your Times, your Verdanas, but I'm just going to go with Tahoma. It's a font that I like. We have some various different sizes here. I'm going to go with, I'll just leave it at bold. And I'm using the blue style, so we'll just keep everything blue for this demonstration so you can see what that looks like. So let's enter some text under the headline now. This ebook is the best and you should get it. All right, how's that for some text? I'll go with a 14 so you can see what that looks like. We'll leave it at Arial for the text under the headline, and we'll make it normal. And let's just go with a nice charcoal gray color. And then I'll make my button say download now. And here is your button color. This is what your button looks like in the preview. It's going to be this gradient color, and these are the colors here. If I wanted to, I could change this, and I'll just copy this so I can easily go back to it. But let's say I go, ooh, I want a red button. Let's make my button nice and deep red. So I can start by changing the color there, and you can see now that I've got red as my base bottom color. I can do the same with these two, and I can do the same with these two, and I can then have a new colored gradient for my button. These sliders will adjust how it blends. You can see I moved it all the way to the right, and that red went way up top. I can move it all the way to the left, and it comes really low down here. It adjusts the blend between your colors. So I'm going to put that back to the original yellow that I started at, and that looks pretty good right about there, so I'm going to leave that. And for the text on my button, let's try a 20 Arial, italic and bold, and we'll go with a navy blue, just like that. I'll leave the border around the button like this, but if you wanted a dashed border around it, something a little thicker to draw attention, you could play with that and see what that looks like. I'm going to go real clean and simple with this one though. For the background color, I'm going to leave it as is, but if I wanted to, I could change the background color, and maybe I'll show you that in the next video, what it would look like if I were to change the background color. Now for the image here, if I want to put an ebook image in, all I have to do is see what I've uploaded to my media library, and I've got some things that I've already uploaded. So let me right click on this and open it in a new tab so I can show you what I've got here. So here's my demonstration book in my media library that I've already uploaded. So you can add images to your media library and just store them in here, and then when you want to use them, just go over here to File URL, copy it, go back over to your UberOptin form, and we will just paste it. We'll just paste it in the image below form. So there's a link to my image. You might recall from earlier versions of UberOptin we had a different system for uploading images directly into the sidebar here. It turned out to be cumbersome. It didn't always function the best and wasn't the best solution here. So what I did was that we changed that for this version, and we also included one above and below. So if you wanted to adjust that placement, you can do so. I'll add the privacy text in. That's optional if you would like to show privacy text. If you don't want to, you don't have to. That's fine. We'll put that at normal, and we'll leave it at 13. So now we're getting down to the bottom where we want to add in our email form code. And I happen to have a form open here, and this is in GetResponse that I've got something just for this particular demonstration. And I'm going to go to my publish settings. I'm going to show the HTML code, and you want to get the HTML code for your forms. You don't want to use CSS styles. Those are completely unnecessary. You just want your HTML code in. Each email marketing system gives you HTML code. Sometimes you just need to know where to look. Use their help system if you're not sure where to find it. But I haven't run across one yet that doesn't offer the HTML code. So that's really handy. And then I paste my HTML code in there, and you can see it pre-filled in the name of my name field where I'm going to collect the user's name, and the name of the email field where I'm going to collect the user's email. It also put in the form action, which is the code that directs the form where to send to. Generally, that's something with your email marketing system. It collects the hidden fields that you're going to need, and it also collects the script that you're going to need. Depending on your system, you may have more or less things in here. If you don't want to use name, if you only want to collect email, you can click hide name, and that will not show on the final form. But I am going to use it, so I will leave it selected, type in your first name, and then for the value for email, I will put in your email address. Now, if I wanted to have more fields besides just those two, we can put some extra fields in here. We've got some place for them where you can put the name and the value. The only difference is these don't autofill because they're completely optional. So if you wanted to know what your field names were, you would have to look in your code. And let me go back to my code here. And I'll just show you really quickly. As you can see, this input, the name is name. If this were something else, like a phone number field, the name might be phone number. I would just select that, copy it, and then I would put it right in there. So if that were a phone, this might say phone, and then for the value, I might put in something like your phone number. But since I don't have that, I will remove those from here. And that's it. I'm going to hit save. My form has been saved. I've got all my components in there. Let's go and take a look at what our site looks like now. And just like that, I've got grab my free ebook. This ebook is the best, you should get it. Got the arrow, first name, email address, download now. There's my book image, and then protect your privacy. If I look at this and say, you know, I don't know how I feel about that, maybe I don't love this font, so now I can go back here and let's say I wanted to change this font to Impact. Maybe I realized, you know what, I didn't necessarily like that. So we're going to make the font Impact, and we will go down, and maybe I didn't want to use my privacy text, and we'll click Save. And we'll reload our demo site, and you can see now we have a new font in red. We've got no privacy text at the bottom, and made a quick change to our form. It's just that easy. That's all you have to do to customize your UberWP widgets.